The AR10. Now, it gets its name for being 5 less dangerous than its younger brother, the AR-15. Today, we're shooting an Aero Precision AR-10. Let's bump right into it. It's real motherfucking NATO hours out here, boys. Let's get after it.
Today we're talking about the AR10. Let's jump into it. So I'm going to kind of have this video in two parts. First, I'm going to give kind of a brief overview, going to run some B-roll looking at the gun itself, talking about what specifically this is. And then at the end, I'm going to kind of give more of an off-the-cuff kind of my general opinions of it and get you a better idea of this gun and what I think of it and why I think it is the best bang for your buck AR10, because there are a lot of cheaper options out there. But personally, I wouldn't go any lower than this, and I wouldn't recommend you go any lower either, because I think you get a lot more than what you pay for when you jump up to this. Right up the gate, why an AR-10? Well, typically that's going to be because you can get it in much larger calibers than an AR-15 chambered in 5.56. You're really limited by the magwell of the AR-15, and when you jump up to the AR-10, you get into much more powerful calibers. This specific one is chambered in .308 Winchester, but you can also get them typically in 6.5 Creedmoor, which is another excellent round, both of which being great long distance or better hunting guns than a typical 5.56. I really think that having the ability to reach out and touch something a little bit further definitely is what sets the AR-10 apart from the AR-15, in addition to just being pretty cool and making a lot of loud noises. Now, when you get into AR-10s, it's not quite as standardized as a typical AR-15, so you're going to run into some issues if you try to mismatch parts or if you try to go with some manufacturers, because parts compatibility isn't as narrowed down and refined as the AR-15. The AR-10 has kind of struggled, and a big reason for that is going to be because of the profile of the upper and lower receiver, basically how the upper and lower meet in the rear. There's what's called DPMS pattern and Armalite pattern. DPMS pattern has typically been considered the standard, and many more are shifting over to a DPMS pattern receiver size, but there's still going to be some out there that are Armalite. And if you go with something like Palmetto State Armory, you're going to run into the issue of it being actually their own unique, weird variation of DPMS, where only their upper and lower receivers will work together, whereas something like this Aero Precision upper and lower set, they fit perfect. So my personal recommendation is when you build or buy an AR-10, you're going to want to make sure that the upper and the lower receiver are from the same company. Many other parts are compatible regardless, and they're going to work, but you specifically want to match your upper and lower receiver so that you don't run into fitment issues. Now, while the sky is the limit like AR-15s, like anything in the world, eventually you're going to get that kind of sweet spot where spending more money doesn't necessarily get you an equal amount more performance. While you can definitely build an AR-10 for around $800 fully built out, I think that the sweet spot kind of lies in that $1,300 to $1,500 range, where you're getting a lot for your money, but you're not spending $3,000 on a gun that's significantly more expensive while only being marginally better. I'm not going to say that this gun is just as good as a $3,000 gun, but it's pretty damn good for the money. And that's ultimately why I chose this Aero Precision upper and lower as my base of the gun. I definitely think that Aero Precision, when you get the lower receiver and the full built upper, I think that's the way to go. This gun actually is a mostly Aero Precision build. I've got a Aero Precision Don't Tread on Me lower with the Gadsden flag that you've seen typically in some of my other previous videos, same logo. Aero Precision upper that's been fully built. I have a Toolcraft nickel boron bolt carrier group that I got from a company called Spicecraft. They got pretty good deals on there. Aero Precision mount with a Vortex Viper PST Gen 2 1:6x24 scope. Excellent low power variable. I've touched on this previously in this video, but we all know, as Garand has told us, that looking cool is the most important thing. And when you buy an AR-10 or an AR-15, you don't want to get called names on the internet for being a poor. So I think the Aero Precision is honestly right at that line where people won't make fun of you on the internet, but you'll still be proud that you didn't spend $3,000 on a gun. So it's that perfect sweet spot of not spending too much money, but not spending not enough money. Now, this specific rifle with the barrel length, I chose a 18-inch barrel, and it is a fluted stainless. I really like this length barrel and this profile. It's very easy for me to work around and for me to maneuver it when I want to go from target to target, but I still feel like I have plenty of accuracy for longer range shot. I've taken this thing out to about 450-ish yards. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, but about 450 yards, and I was getting solid hits on steel, and I'm really happy with that. I am not a precision shooter, so an 18-inch barrel for the 308 is perfect for me, while not being so long that it's going to be unwieldy if I choose to ever hunt with this. Now, I've installed a VG6 Gamma muzzle brake on it. This one is not considered a flash hider, so if I ever wanted to go featureless for California gun laws, I could, because this is a muzzle brake. It's got standard 3-port design with some ports on the top. It works pretty goddamn well. I'm gonna be honest, I was bump firing this thing and rapid firing, and I had no issues whatsoever getting the gun cycling and staying on target while it was cycling. It seemed like it was just a smooth machine, and I really do attribute that, one, to the overall weight of the gun and the gas system, but also I think this muzzle brake helped a ton. Now, this upper receiver came pre-installed with the Atlas S1 handguard. I really like this handguard, and I got one on a pistol build that I'm working on currently. The front top is actually ribbed for her pleasure, while the rest is nice and smooth, giving you a nice comfortable shaft. Some of you may feel familiar with this feel. Yeah, those are words I said, and I'm gonna leave that in there. Now, one of the major drawbacks of this, if you're the kind of tactical operator that's going to want to mount all kinds of night vision goggles or laser emitters and all kinds of things on a Picatinny rail on the top, you're going to be unable to do that because the top is not drilled, mounted, or tapped whatsoever for any mounting. However, the side and bottom are. So keep that in mind when you go with this. They do make an option with either just M-LOK slits at the top or Picatinny up the full slot. So keep that in mind if you're going to be mounting stuff. And in general, with an AR10, I don't really see myself mounting a whole lot to this, maybe a flashlight, but I'm not really going to be doing low light hunting, and I'm not going to be using this gun for home defense. So for me, I really just wanted the most comfortable user experience, which the smooth shaft definitely offers. Now, as I talked about earlier, the low receiver has their Don't Tread on Me logo. I have the Sparrow Dynamics short throw safety on it. ALG ACT trigger. I might throw a Geisley or maybe one of those LaRue MBT 2S's in here. The lower parts kit is a standard Aero Precision, as well as the buffer tube and buffer assembly. The upper, I actually have a Radian Raptor ambidextrous charging handle, which I personally really like because with a scope, I want to be able to easily grab that from any angle, or from wearing gloves. I want a nice big latch. I'm not going to be using this gun home defense, but I want to be able to easily grab that if I do choose to use this as a hunting gun. On the back, I got one of the Bravo Company BCM Gunfighter stocks on it. I really like this stock. It's super sleek, but it still has a good cheek weld on it. It adjusts really solidly, and all in all, I think for about 50 or 60 bucks, you really can't beat the BCM stocks. Now for the scope that I have on this bad boy, as I said earlier, it's the Vortex Viper 1-6. I really like this line of scopes without going to their Razor line, which actually they just announced their new Razor Gen 3 1-10. Kind of crazy. But without going to the Razor line and spending about, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 bucks, I think that this is the best bang for your buck. Now, many of you are going to say, what about the Strike Eagle? And to people that say, what about the Strike Eagle? I say, please save the money for this. You can get this scope. I got it for about 450 bucks on a screaming deal, but you can easily find it at 500 bucks pretty much any day of the week now. I have a simple throw lever on this. This is just one of those cattail coasters that you get on Amazon. It's for fishing. Basically just tightens down. Boom. I can throw it from 1 to 6 real easy. I really like a low power variable scope for something that I want to target shoot with, but then still just absolutely dump rounds close range, because that's honestly 90% of my shooting is going to be just up fast and close, and I want something with a 1X, and I want something that's going to be good for that. But the 6X still gives me enough reach to easily target shoot at a couple hundred yards, and I'm perfectly happy with that. The brightness settings are awesome, perfectly daylight bright. You're not going to get that with the Strike Eagle, unfortunately, and I've tried the Strike Eagle a lot. I wanted to love it for about 250 bucks, but I just couldn't recommend it, honestly. Okay, so now my general thoughts on this gun. I fucking love it. I love bump firing this thing. I love shooting at long range. I love the recoil. I love the sound. It's honestly just a badass gun, and I don't like saying that a gun is badass, but I just like it. It's got a lot of felt recoil, but not so much that you're not able to shoot it accurately and quick up close or at distance. But for around 1,300 bucks, I think that I have in this gun, minus the scope, you really can't beat it. You can definitely get cheaper AR10s, but you can also definitely get a lot more expensive AR10s. I think Aero Precision is in the perfect category of price as far as not being so expensive that it's ridiculous or not being so cheap that you're getting an inferior product. If you're looking for an AR10, I definitely recommend picking up an Aero Precision built upper and a Aero Precision lower, slapping those two together, calling it a day. You can definitely get more involved with the build, but you're gonna wanna do a ton of research when it comes to parts compatibility, because you wanna make sure that everything's gonna work together and it's gonna fit together and that things will work well. Gas systems are really something that you want to not fuck with. You wanna make sure that you get a good combination of parts so that the gun cycles well. And honestly, this gun cycles perfectly. I love it. I never really thought I was gonna get an AR10, but I saw an AR10 deal for not that bad of a price, and I saw a logo that I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, I like that. And I said, fuck it, let's get an AR10. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you want to see more like this, let me know. If you want to see less like this, let me know. As always, have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.